Hi, and welcome back to another episode of George's Garage. Today I'm going to keep taking apart the BMW. We had a bit of a detour yesterday with my Nissan, but now I'm just waiting on some more parts to come. Like, I've got a valve cover gasket coming because I'm getting oil dripping down onto the spark plugs. But I think what I'll do today, well, this episode will be start taking apart the rest of the dashboard there. Once I get that out, a lot of these wires should be able to come straight out, and that makes life much easier with all that gone. And then I guess I go underneath the car, start taking out like the rear diff, fuel tanks, things like that. So let's get started then. As you'll have seen there, I just removed like the center vents, and you see you got things like this connector, which I'm probably not going to be keeping the center vents because they've got all this trim and so forth, which just won't fit. But what they do have, don't know how well you can see, but there is like temperature sensors, I believe, inside, controlled by that I'll probably try and copy across. Again, I don't know how much of this I can keep, but to save any confusion, if I just label things, there's no harm doing. All it does is take 10 seconds of my time. So let's crack on. Seeing as I won't be keeping this, look at the size of that, but won't be staying. That's a lot of spare space saved, eh? That was a bit of a disaster getting the airbag out the middle of the steering wheel then. You see here, I had to cut open the outside of the steering wheel surround to get in. The clips that were meant to release just wouldn't release at all, and when I got in there I saw someone else had already been in and kind of broken the plastic things, so it's had an airbag replaced, or maybe the actual steering column's been replaced previously. But let's get the wheel off then. A trick for removing the steering wheel is when you undo the center nut here, don't take it all the way out, so that you can grab with two hands and pull the wheel outwards. I've already loosened it. You see, you pull, and instead of hitting yourself in the face, it hits the nut, and then you take it off the rest of the way, and you end up without a face full of steering wheel. So pretty handy. You have to give it to BMW for just being smart with some of the things they do. You know, when you've normally got your stalks around here, they've normally got wires. Instead, what they do is they screw them in, but two screws, I can get to focus, and there's a connector. It just connects in. Look. Simple, just connects in. Pretty genius, really, Instead of all the wires and everything going on, you just plug them all into this one central unit. As you can see, that's the steering column out. Things are getting there. I mean, I think this whole thing's basically loose. There's just a few wires attached to it holding it in. And then we can get ripping out the heater matrix, fuse box over there, and the rest of the wires. And then it's, I guess, I got the other two doors, but as we've seen, they disconnect there, so they're not a problem. And then I think we're on to starting taking apart mechanical things, because the wires in the engine bay will have to wait till the, engine's out. Stuff's just buried away down there with no space. But it's progress, it's progress. Well, we got half of the front stripped out now. You see, this is all just loose. Everything's disconnected. So the only things left on this half of the car is the wire running through the firewall, which obviously I can't do anything about that yet. These are all just running along and through the rear. You see they go in through there? And then they come down to all these boxes, so I can probably feed them back through that way at the moment. But for now, I'm happy to leave them there, and I'll just finish getting the other stuff. Because I can't, well, I can, but I don't want to take the heater matrix out right now, because it'll be full of coolant, and then it'll just leak inside, so it's easier to leave that to once the engine's out. You see, it goes right the way back, so there's no really getting to the back of it to try and cut the lines off or anything. So I think just finish getting the other side off, and then I don't know if I start with like the front end so I can wheel it out on the rear wheels still on the ground, or if I do like drop everything but the subframes, then I can leave it rolling, pull it out, like take the engine out just there, and then lift the front of the car up with the digger and roll it forward on the rear wheels, and then drop them out there, and it'll be easier for getting rid of the shell. Yeah, obviously the shell's not going anywhere just yet because I'll need to use it for like reference points to make it like a negative jig for the subframe, but it'll still need to be out of here because despite sunshine for a change, this isn't normal. It's more likely to keep raining, so better to get the car inside for working on it really. All this lot's undone, all of it's free, loose. The only bit is pulling it through from the back, but that's all undone now. The only thing is there's a wire that goes under the car through that hole that I can't get out at the moment until I lift the car up. Same on that side, there's one behind that box. They're all ready to just be unplugged and the wire pushed through. Then over here I've got the two connectors and the door pillars to come out, but then that's all undone and that's ready to either go through the firewall or come back. I don't quite know which way it goes yet. Right, so it's another day now and there's been a little bit of a change of plan. I'll show you here. You see, I don't know how well you'll be able to read my writing, but I went around getting various measurements like between the front, rear wheels, from sill to sill, roof to sill height, you know, arch to firewall and sill and so forth. And it's actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. The thing that's out the most is the strut top distance between them, but it's not something that can't be fixed. So I think the plan, just to see, you know, most of the car is stripped now. I've got chain hooked onto the wheel here, going to attach the digger and just pull it sideways so I can get to the other side, get those two doors off. But then I'm going to take this and just start cutting, you know. I think if it's bonded windscreen, obviously that's no good, but if you pull it out somewhere at the bottom, cut down here, cut across the top of the sill, cut all the rear out and just be left with like a floor, and then we'll see how close the Rolls Royce body is to fitting. You know, if it's miles off, it's not costing me anything but a bit of time in cutting. As you see there, that's the first cuts done. Here was kind of just like test cuts and things, see how that saw works, because I don't really know what it's like. But the plans, as I've cut it here, to make it more manageable pieces, I'm going to cut them out in pieces. Like, I think if I cut here, then the middle can come away. I don't have the, you know, like the braided wire for cutting the sealant out on the windows. So I might try and cut it out with the metal, or, you know, smash it and hope for the best. But with the front one, I want to keep the metal below it for now. So what I've done is I've cut it there, and I should be able to like not pry this back, but when they're cut across there, all that'll be holding it is the sealant at the bottom. So the whole thing might be able to, you know, flip over. But we'll see how it goes. We'll get the roof off first and just keep cutting and cutting for now. Something a bit more fun for you guys. As I was saying, I'm going to cut the roof down to keep it manageable pieces. So what I've done is, so when I cut through it, it doesn't, I mean, it's kind of sitting on it. It might not go far, but so it doesn't. I've just got 2 chains hanging from the rafters, so if it does try to come free, like when I cut through the back here, it shouldn't go too far, hopefully, and then I'll get a hand getting it out. Well, that worked pretty well then. See? I'll just get a hand taking that out, and it should be like carryable by 1 person, because with the weight of the sunroof in there, it's much heavier than expected. I think this will be where I'll end the episode, as the saw's dead, basically. You see, if I press go, and then it'll go once, and then nothing. I think the gearbox inside's toast, because if I pull this out, it'll start, and then it'll not go again. So I think it's pretty much dead, but it was just a cheapy one. It's the kind of thing you'd buy from Lidl when you went in for bananas and came out with a welder and one of them, basically. But see here, I just finished off the last bit through with a hammer, but I don't know how well you can see, but this is all loose now. So I'll cut the other side, and then same with the windscreen. I'll bend this back so that I can cut along the rear, like, of the parcel shelf, because I don't know, but it might be usable, at least some of it, and I want to try and keep the seat backs because they've got all the points for, you know, running all the wires. Everything's pretty correct, so if I can save it, I will. Then cut the front, cut these right down low, start taking off like these rear quarters. Don't know how much of the boot area I've got to trim yet, so I think what I'll do is I'll cut it down like there, down to the boot floor level, and then we'll see where we go from then. And then what I'm going to do is, these are obviously not strong enough to support the whole weight of the Rolls Royce. Like, they held the roof of this car, but I wouldn't trust them with much more, so I'm going to go and get some tree trunks and like prop them in, like at the bottom going down, so that they'll have the strength to hold it. But thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully next episode we'll finish cutting this up and we might test fit just to see roughly how well the Rolls Royce body fits on top. But we'll end it here. Thanks for watching, guys.